Yeah, good afternoon, all. I'm the BC of GGL, GGL, Good Governance Ministry, on Good Governance Advocacy. Yes, the question is, can Nigeria be fixed? Yes or no? Nigeria could be fixed. Yes. One side, no, the other side. You know why this is important? We've been on this course for several years. So many people started it, and so many of them are not living. But we have to continue the concept of Nigeria. Even after us, our own children will have to continue. I know so many of our followers will be on this platform even after this program. I have to address this because there are so many confusions everywhere. So many people are just confused. If you move the street, you will see the level of confusion, not just on the street. Even in corporate world, you see the confusion. The other time I went to bank, I went to do transaction, and I keep on wondering, is this how we'll continue? If you look at bank staffers, assuming bank staffers are 10, only 2 of them are cost staff members of that bank. 8 are contract staff. What you call it is corporate slave. I mean, banking sector is an organized sector, it's a corporate organized sector. If that kind of transaction could be going on against humanity, what happens to other sectors that are not organized, the informal sector? You could imagine what is going on there. When you look at it, owners of banks are making billions of naira profits after tax every year. Then you begin to wonder, why wouldn't they provide some percentage of their profit after tax to take care of their workforce? Or why should they contract their workforce to a contractor to take care of their staff? Why wouldn't the banks take care of 90 to 100% of their staff members? The whole thing boils down on the governance of the country. Because if you get it right, you know, if the government is there to take care of his own people, the citizens, government should be bothered of the welfare of their citizens. But that is not the case in Nigeria. So that takes me back to, can Nigeria be faced? I will start by saying yes, it can be faced. How? Now you have to understand what is the fundamental problem with Nigeria. Because before you start thinking of how to fix Nigeria, you have to understand the problem with Nigeria. You cannot just begin to fix something you don't understand. If the building, this house is cracked, you have to invite an engineer who look at it, whether the crack is from the foundation or from the blockwork or from the decking. A diagnosis will take place before the actual recommendation for solution will come up. I think that is what you do. Not that once you see the crack, you say, okay, let me start repairing it. You start patching it. No, 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 no. You have to understand where the problem starts and then proper solution. So in case of Nigeria, the issue with Nigeria is fundamental, foundational. Nigeria is created as a business empire, business entity, business enterprise. The mindset of Lord Lugard and British businessmen that created Nigeria was for their own benefits. It's not for the welfare of the people of Nigeria. It's the welfare of their company, of their home country. That was how Nigeria became a federation. And that was how Nigeria was packaged in 1960. In 1963, we had Republican Constitution. Nigeria became a republic, meaning that the administration, political administration of Nigeria has been transferred to the indigenous people. But the question is, are we prepared as at the time that transaction was done? In my own opinion, personal opinion, as good governance advocate, as a person advocating for good governance, politicians as at that time were not prepared. All what they were after is to take over power and send the colonial masters back. Then came the Civil War. It was the outcome of that lack of preparation that gave birth to the Civil War. I mean, the first military coup, then counter coup of 1966, July 1966. This is fundamental. I know so many youths have not taken time to understand why Nigeria is the way it is. And so many others understood perfectly all right that the problem with Nigeria is foundational. But the big question, many of us are trapped, whether in the corporate world, institutions where we work. We can't come out like this on the stream and start talking. Many of us are trapped. Many of us can't speak the truth. Many of us can't speak the truth to power. And that is the fundamental problem we have. But some of us who have been in this advocacy for several years, we've written, we've appeared on television or radio stations, we have been all through speaking this truth. To some people, it's no longer truth because they wouldn't want it to be spoken. But to us, no matter how many times, it could be 100 times, it could be 10,000 times, we must continue to say this. Just like the coming of Christ, we've kept on repeating the book of Matthew, the book of Corinthians, you know, Psalm. We've kept on reading it every now and then, every morning, the Christians. We've continued reminding ourselves how Job suffered and how Saul was converted on his way to Damascus. We've continued to inform our Christian brothers and sisters about these events, past events of the Bible. So also, people like us will continue reminding ourselves how we started, where we went wrong, where we are, and where we are going, and the way forward. Like I said, Nigeria will be fixed, but we have to understand the problem with Nigeria. And I say the problem is foundational. The problem with the structure of Nigeria. Then who will fix it? It is that person who is selfless, who thinks about the welfare of the people, and who is still not thinking about himself, but thinking about the future of the children of the indigenous people of Nigeria. Not thinking about his self-survival, but thinking about the survival of this system, a place called Nigeria. There are some people who don't believe. They don't believe in this system, this name called Nigeria. They believe that Nigeria is a mistake, or Nigeria is a scar, or Nigeria is a business entity that Nigeria should not be. And to those people, they are working hard, whether genuinely or not. But the fact is that they are pushing the message, which resonates with the ordinary people. Oduduwa Republic. Some of them said we want our republic. If you go to social media, you see them. If you go to field, you see them. No one at school said United States of Biafra. And they're doing it without fear or favor. Of course, you have IPOB, which the history is well known to all of us. It started, I was part of it when we went to court against Nigeria, you know. Before Nanika came up, Nanika was director of Radio Biafra. Of course, the recent history is well known to everybody. But the fact remains that Nigeria as a country, the way it's configured, is a business entity. That is why everything you are doing in Nigeria is business transaction. Few days ago, APC did their primary election. It's not hidden. It's there before the world. Shamelessly, politicians were counting from 50 to 100, from 100 to 500, all efforts to rig the election, the primary election, not the main election. You know, this is a primary election conducted by a political party, internal democracy. And we've seen what they did. They did mess of themselves. So with this, can you say Nigeria is a country? Nigeria is a country where they cannot defend their territory, where kidnappers will kidnap. Last 3 weeks, one of my colleagues was kidnapped on his way to Enugu. The state couldn't intervene. We had to raise our personal resources to pay kidnappers before the guy could be released. Is that a country? And nobody cares. The governor didn't care. Of course, the police, the DSS were all contacted, but they did nothing, absolutely nothing. Is that a country? Can it be fixed? I want to make this video a short one so that the next video I'll be dropping will answer the question whether Nigeria could be fixed or not. If Nigeria could be fixed, how? How? If not, what next should we do? I think this is what we should be rubbing our minds to provide solution. Some of us could afford to keep calm or keep quiet, but keeping quiet is not the way forward, is not the answer. If not for anything, we have to set a platform. We have to change the narrative, not for anything for the coming generation, which my own children should be part of. We have to give them sense of direction, of the way to go and how to go about it. We have to build a solid foundation for them, a foundation that will carry them 10-story building to 50-story building. That is what we must continue to put down for them without fear or favor, without any monetary inducement. We use every resources we have to ensure we push this message forward. And we'll continue to be doing that. Even if it means standing alone, even if it means doing it alone, you know, in this country where everything has been monetized, even speaking the truth has price. Everybody goes with price tag. Then who will bear the cut? Who will bear the cut? Somebody will do that, even if it means that person has to stand alone. He will stand alone for the generation to come. As some of us are seeing P2B, some of us are criticizing him. Yes, I may not, P2B is not perfect. I had issue with him some times ago. I criticized him. But the fact that the guy is standing against the forces, the evil forces, all the evil forces in Nigeria, he is standing. Hmm. The fact that all the evil forces are against one man and he's still standing, moving around. Hmm. If he opens the account, I'll be putting 1,000 naira there and encourage people to be donating money there. We have to support that voice that is standing for the people. Peter is not a saint, he has said it. If he comes to the system tomorrow, I don't expect him to do magic or miracle. If he goes there without touching the system, without adjusting the system, like what the colonial masters gave us, we have to go back to that place, you know. Anyway, I've started giving you a spoon on the next video I'll be dropping here. See you next time. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world.